Everybody, today is June 13th, 2015. It's definitely been a long time since I've actually uploaded some videos to Cube Computer Channel. Been very busy with work and many other things have been going on. And of course, it's summertime. I spent a lot more time outside, bike riding and things like that. So I figured I would bring back Cube Computer Channel videos with a special look at a unique part system. Since they have finished Interstate 485, I now have easier access to the new Computer Works store, or the Grid store. I picked this thing up for 20 bucks, and it's one of those really, I guess you can say, crappy and unique Compaq machines. The thing is so gutless, and I mean, it's not necessarily a weak machine, but it's gutless. I mean, we're looking at this large, well, you know, for a no-aim system, it's a pretty typical size machine. Micro ATX mini tower, you say. You know, you got your DVD drive up here. We typically have a full-size, say, a hard drive in it, which of course they pull the hard drives. You see, there it is. This film was priced $20 exactly. Very, very unusual. Normally it's like $19.99 or something like that. Must have had somebody else working that day. But look at the back of this thing. Say, where's the freaking power supply at? Well, this thing is not using an ATX power supply. It uses something like this to power it. That gives you an idea of how gutless it is. It does actually have a computer fan in there. And that is the only fan, by the way. There are no other fans in this machine. That is the only fan. Here's your motherboard, I/O shield. You got your basic video connections with your DVI, VGA. I'm sure a DVI to HDMI adapter would work okay here. There's where you plug in your laptop adapter, basically. There's your Ethernet. Not sure if it's gigabit or 10100. And look at this case. You cannot expand this thing at all. No expansion slots are available. There's the model. Compaq CQ 2014 PC. Yeah, very, very basic model. And no, I don't think this was made in 2014. It has Windows 7. Processor is an AMD dual-core E300. It's an APU. Basic APU. It's a E series, Essential series, basically. Not very powerful. But it doesn't use much power and it's very cool running. So, let's go ahead and open this thing up and let you see just how gutless it is. You know, I've seen a couple of these at Staples when I was working there. You know, I just hope I get my hands on one. You're thinking, why would you want such a piece of crap like this? Well, although these do not have much power, they would make great TV box systems because they use barely any power at all. And just wait till you see the motherboard in this thing. So here's how we're going to do this. Of course, the hard drive is pulled out. There's the DVD drive. This big empty space where the power supply would normally go. See, look here. All this unused space. I mean, look at this. Oh, there's the motherboard. Yeah, look how tiny that thing is. I mean, it's itty bitty. It comes up to basically here, and that is it. I think it is a variant of Mini ITX, but I think Mini ITX would actually give you at least one expansion slot. But no, this one does not. No expansion slots at all, whatsoever. None. Some of these guys actually do include a mini PCIe slot for like a Wi-Fi adapter or something, but this doesn't even have that. This thing is pretty much self-contained. You plug in your 18.5 volt power supply here, and it has its own built-in DC to DC converter for your different voltages for the motherboard and components. You have two SATA hookups, One for your optical drive, one for a hard drive, or 2 hard drives if you want to skimp out and not have an optical drive. Because you only get 2 of these, and you get, let's see if we can get it unplugged. You get 2 of these. This is you see both of them. They do both seem to supply 12 volts and 5 volts, which you want to make sure you have a 5 volt SSD if you're running a solid state drive on this thing. Yeah, look at this. The cooler is basically passive. It uses the fan sort of to cool it. Now get this. The let's see. The TDP of that processor that's in this thing is a whopping 18 watts. It barely puts out any heat when you compare it to like a regular desktop processor. This puts out less heat than many laptop processors, so this thing runs nice and cool. With a slightly better heatsink, you could probably passive cool this entire thing, not have any moving parts when you have like a solid state drive. Big wad of dust there. Yeah, great. Basically, now say if I was to want to reuse this case for a regular computer build, sure, I could do it. It wouldn't be all that great because the expansion slots are not there. It's just like a big solid sheet of metal there. The power supply cover, this can be punched out. It's just riveted in there. But this, you could stick a micro ATX motherboard in there, but you wouldn't even be able to utilize any of the expansion slots. Kind of a waste of time. So yeah, the case is more on the same of like throwaway. Yeah, throwaway. Now what's interesting is I plan to reuse this board, but first let's see if it even works. So I'm gonna grab a stick of RAM and let's see if it works. Okay, I got this thing plugged up, and one of the biggest things about these kinds of machines is they have a special kind of power adapter. It's not like a standard power supply unit that's inside the machine. And surprisingly to note, it took me less than 5 minutes to find a compatible power supply. It's for a Toshiba laptop. Yep. Satisfies both the voltage and amperage requirements for this thing. And let's see if it actually works. Yep, it does. We have UEFI bias on this thing. And here it is trying to pixie boot. It's not liking my keyboard. Apparently this thing does not like PS2 adapter, so I gotta go grab a USB keyboard for this piece of crap. Try to bias this time. Though it is new enough to actually have EFI firmware. Oh, this is the apparently F2 is the shortcut key for diagnostics and testing. Let's try F10 this time. Here we go. It's basically a UEFI version of HP's really crappy SEP utility. This was derived from Compaq's business machines from way back when, like the Despro EN from like 2000. Yeah, very, very, very basic BIOS here. It tells you the fan speed. Oh wow. It doesn't even tell you temperatures or nothing like that. Nothing important. Let's see what we have here. Okay, let's turn off Pixie Boot. We're not actually on a corporate LAN. All different options we have here. See what we have here for system security. Turn on virtualization. Yeah, very, very, very crappy BIOS. Why would need RAID when we only have one actual hard drive plugged up? You can configure the boot options here. It does offer UEFI and legacy options. Trust me, with the UEFI systems, I've seen much better BIOS utilities. System information. Yeah, we do have a little bit of stuff here. It just tells you what kind of hardware setup you have here. It's about the BIOS. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, totally wonderful. Okay, before I power it off, I guess we could take a look at it one more time. This thing does not run hot at all. I mean, the heatsink is a little warm. It's actually cooler than this heatsink. So we have something that is, you know, not very powerful, but, you know, good enough for maybe a basic TV box. It consumes barely any power at all, because obviously look at the setup we have here. It's like nothing. The case, as I mentioned, is practical throwaway. It's junk. Absolute junk. I don't know why anybody would want to buy one of these things. Well, most people don't know much about computers anyway, apparently. They'll buy these things and then find out later on that this is a, a disposable computer. If the motherboard fails, you might as well just dispose the whole computer and buy a new one, because you ain't going to replace the motherboard easily in this thing. I mean, you think about it. Had they allowed you the option to use the expansion ports, the expansion slots I meant to say, if you had the option to stamp those out and actually install, those sliding covers there, I mean, you do have the option to actually pop this out of here. It's just riveted in. You can install a standard power supply. It appears it will only take one hard disk drive, so only one hard drive. No option to add an additional hard drive or a solid state drive in the future. Heck, it would be kind of difficult to install a solid state drive in this thing unless the adapter provided hookups. Well, I mean, I don't know for sure. You could probably mount one, but yeah. The case is junk. Really, it is. The motherboard, so I'm trying to think of a way how I could reuse this motherboard. I want to use it as a very power efficient TV box. But I've looked on Newegg, and most of the mini ITX cases are very big. They're like cube sized, and I'd like to have a slim one. And most every single one comes with a built-in power supply for ATX, and we don't need that, because this board has its own built-in power supply. I'm thinking of possibly trying to mount this into a television set-top box, like gutting the set-top box and modifying it to where it will fit this board, because my plans are to only mount this motherboard and a solid state disk. That is it. No optical drive, nothing else, just the motherboard, its memory, and a solid state drive, because this thing is literally going to be sitting on top of a table with a monitor on top of it, acting as a Windows Media Center TV. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video of a very basic and unique part system. Any questions or comments? Feel free to ask, and thanks for watching.